Um, all right. Um, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you, sir.
Oh, here we go.
And we usually don't delve too much in this sort of territory because we like to keep it family friendly. We like to keep it, I guess, open to everyone, right? But
Yeah,
I
not
think we should.
divisive.
Yeah, we exactly. We try to be not divisive, and we have everyone to feel welcome and have a good time, right? But I want to talk to you, man, about Snow White.
Oh yeah, go for
I
it.
want to
Yeah,
talk
that's
to
an
you about
interesting
I
discussion.
want to talk to you about Snow White
We
because
had already a
we
discussion
because we
about
had a
this. That was
discussion,
pretty
right? And we had
crazy.
and we got some feedback from external
Yep.
sources, and we
Yeah.
and I feel confident talking about it, right?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
those sources are they are they're not from the same gender as we are. So
Correct. Correct.
so we want that. I don't want to misgender anyone, right? I'm not. I don't know. So it's like we're not the same gender. So um, we I wanted to talk to you about it because like I saw the things that had happened before, right? But I took a deep dive on it, Joe.
Oh, you got in. You got in.
I took a deep dive,
Okay. Okay.
and I have a lot of very strong opinions, right? And
Please go.
part of the reason that I wanted to talk about it was, and I don't wanna drop companies that I or uh, I guess outlets that I do not support, but the Daily Wire is doing their own Snow White remake with
Wow.
um they are so I don't know it's kind of they have a teaser out there it is kind of kind of cringe. I don't know, right? But correct me if I'm wrong. The name of the lady that is playing the character. Hold on,
In for Disney?
no for the Daily Wire version.
Oh, I don't know. I
Brett
didn't.
Cooper. Brett Cooper. Um,
Okay.
and so the okay, I I don't you know what? I'm gonna get in trouble. Screw it. I'm gonna talk about it. Um, she's technically an actress, right? Because she's one of those clickbait rage. You're just like, oh yeah, it's like this is this rage-inducing topic. Come in here and watch my podcast or my video that I do from home, aka a TV studio, right? So, you know, it's really funny to me that these rage baiters are actually trying to do their own version uh,
Yeah.
of Snow White.
Yeah.
But at the
Sure.
same, so it's like this guy's here and then this guy's here. It's like we can't meet in the middle on this one, right?
Okay.
Because now and then on the other end you got Rachel Segler,
Wow.
which I, I I'm a gentleman, Joe. I'm a
Of
gentleman.
course. Of
I'm a
course.
gentleman,
Totally. Yeah.
and
No. No. No.
I don't want
Yeah.
to I don't want to express myself like that, but um, I think that her comments are I don't want to say that her points are invalid,
No. No. No.
but she invalidates her own points with her attitude. She has some valid points, right?
Correct.
Bringing the old story back and whatnot and changing it. People shouldn't get mad about them changing the story because the Disney adaptations of these stories are
Oh
not the same
yes.
as the books. Like
Correct.
the
Correct.
books are or the original stories are much
Correct.
darker and
Oh yeah.
weird and very strange, right?
Oh yeah.
So even Disney changed the story to make it their own, right? So they can do it again, right? And Snow White is public domain; anyone can make a movie about it, whatever. But I think that her disparaging the fact that a building block, a pillar of the Walt Disney Company, and her talking about the movie being antiquated and oh this is not the 1930s and this thing and it's like oh this is creepy. It always creeped me out ever since I was a kid. I watched it and I felt weird and I felt creeped out by the movie. It's like, bro, it's like these guys are paying you to make the movie and you're disparaging the movie that made like the entire company, like a building block from like it's Mickey Mouse and Snow White. That's what built the Walt Disney Company. Honestly, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
because that they got money every time. It's like they got money from Mickey, they did Snow White. They got money from Snow White, and then they did the next movie, and then they
I
got
know. That was their
money from
first
the next.
premiere.
That was the
That was
first animated. Dude, how can you disparage the first animated feature film ever made,
I've watched the behind the scenes of Hollywood studios. They teach it. Like it's because of
bro?
Snow White.
And it's unfortunate that she's just expressing about the movie like that. Um,
Sure.
like to again, I'm a gentleman, right? It's like
Yeah.
I I don't know, man, but the Evil Queen is much better looking than you are. So I,
That's kind of the point of it, though.
well, that's not the point of the movie, right?
Not the point of the movie, but
The point
like,
of the original film is that
yeah,
her look.
she
That's
has to
like
look good
it's not
because,
only
yeah,
the looks, but the attitude, right? It's a combination of both, right? She's
correct,
a
yeah,
beautiful person, inside and out, and that's the
correct.
whole thing of the original film, of the
For her
original like
kindness.
Snow White, exactly, yeah. But like can he kind of okay? Honestly speaking, again going back, it's like I'm a dude. It's like kindness can only get you so far. So I I don't mean to disparage her. I think she's a talented young actress, and if she watches her mouth, she can have a really good career in front of her. But you can't just be going back and disparaging uh, what basically built the company you're working for. Can you imagine, Joel, if I would go back and talk about the choices that were made during the founding of the company that I work for publicly? Publicly. Not once,
First
not
of
twice,
all,
three, four times, dude.
and first of all, too, like it's like we weren't there, right? Like we went with Snow White, right? I wasn't there when those choices were made with Snow White back then.
It's a cult.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's a different time
Like
too. You can't really.
there's a lot of
Yeah,
semantics that people get into with these things. It's very dangerous
yeah, exactly.
because the same thing can happen in our lives. We're
Totally.
like,
Yeah,
you know,
and I think.
110 years from now, and people are like, well, Joel Young, why,
Oh my God,
and all this kind of stuff. So I try and walk with the grace that I would hope to receive.
it's like the John. It's like the John Wayne comments that
Well,
got
John
out.
Wayne
That
was
got
crazy
out.
though.
Yeah. Well,
John Wayne was
but
actually
that's the thing,
crazy.
right? He was
Yeah,
born like 2 centuries ago. It's like
I know.
uh, you
But
know,
there's some crazy stuff, man.
it's a different mentality. Well, it's a
Even people
different
back in
mentality.
his time, even people back from his time were calling him out. We're like, you need to chill, man. There's like
I
stories
still,
people behind the
bro,
scenes trying to stop him from doing things on stage and stories. You're like, what?
like the fact that he played
That's a
freaking
whole nother.
Genghis Khan in the movie still like blows my freaking mind to this day.
It's a crazy
How
time. Crazy time.
crazy is that, right? It's insane.
But that's what I'm saying with the same thing, like with this stuff. Like it's okay to say like, but like there's levels to it.
Right,
There's levels to it,
right.
and how you approach it, I think, is what's more telling.
Exactly. Yeah, because you can be critical about it. It's like, oh well,
Correct.
the movie it's a product of its time, right? And we want to move forward, not backwards. So we want to create a story that not only the old fans can enjoy, but can bring new fans into the movie, right? That's the sort of comment that you probably could or should make in that case. But going, it's like, oh, it's antiquated and it's creepy and it always creeped me out and all this. It's awful and we don't need that. I don't need no prints and no the all right. It's a little it's disparaging in my opinion, right? Like you're bro, it's crazy, right? When you think about it and publicly, like not again multiple times, it's insane. I have very strong doubts that this project is going to happen, right? um oh, now going back to the clickbaiters over at the Daily Wire, because um it's okay. the brand trying to brand the movie as like an anti woke version of Snow White is really dumb too. Like you see my point, right? Like both sides are
Oh,
wrong.
100%. It's
Like
it,
both sides are
there's
wrong.
some crazy things you're like, what?
Yeah, like both sides are wrong. I was like, right, these guys are like, you know,
That's
especially
they're biting the
Brett
hand that
Cooper.
feeds them, and the
Yeah,
other ones are over here saying like, "Well, we know better, and
yeah. It's like
let's just blaspheme on everything else that's going on." It's
right.
like there's no winning there.
Like I
It's
said,
very
there's
dangerous.
Brett like okay, so in one corner you got Rachel Segler who is speaking her mind maybe a little bit too loud, right? But then on the other side you got Brett Cooper, which is like being controlled, or I guess I don't want to say controlled, right? But uh, there's an agenda behind the sort of um, content that she puts out there, right? There's a difference between both, and I think both are wrong,
Totally.
right? It's like you should be more careful with how you express yourself about this project because you're talking about a foundational pillar of the company. On the other side, is like you're just giving your opinion on things that you should know better not to talk about, and you're probably not qualified to give your opinion on, right? And that I think both sides are like we should. What I'm trying to say, Joe, is that that they should both let it go, right? And I know that I'm uh, confident that the Daily Wire project is going to happen. Then I'm more confident than that than the Disney project at this point. I think the Disney project will get scrapped, and will get reworked. Um, we'll see. It's just so I'm aggravated by both. You're trying to see what you know me.
No, I get
You're
it.
yeah, and you get it. I
I
think I
get it.
think you
No, I
feel the
get it.
same
Yeah.
way. Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
to some extent. Yeah,
No, totally get where you come from.
yeah. Because I mean, Segler sounds very childish and immature in the things that she's saying, and you can tell that she's saying the things that she says because about the movie, or the thing that she said about the movie, right? I was like, I don't know if she changed her mind or whatever, but you can tell that she is saying that to like kick the wasp's nest basically, and get these people like, "Ugh, they're changing Snow White to be woke now," right? Like, but then on the other side, you got the same thing, right? It's like, oh, we're gonna make this anti-woke version because you guys are woking it up over here, and then you get this guys like they really don't care what you do, right? Because like, like there's like I don't care what you do, right? But I think the biggest problem that I have is that um, a company keeps giving opportunities to someone that is unable to actively appreciate a foundational pillar of the company. So it's
Man.
it's very strange, right? And again,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're opportunists. They saw the opening and jumped on it, right?
Yeah.
Is it gonna make? It's probably not gonna have any agenda or anything. It's gonna be more of a retelling, right? But the rumor on the street is that Disney already caught some info about the project, and the project is a little too close to the original Disney version, which Disney owns the storyboard for, and you just can't make it the same because then you're in legal trouble. So Disney could potentially shut down the other project if it's too similar to their original version. So
I'll
like
mess with
that's
them
why
Disney lawyers.
we've gotten like the Kristen Stewart, the Huntsman, Snow White and the Huntsman. Um, that movie didn't get in any legal trouble because it's a completely different retelling from the Disney version. So you're fine. And we've seen other live action versions of Snow White too. No problem with that. You differ from the Disney as long as you don't follow the Disney version beat by beat and kind of have like the same set pieces. You're fine. But once if it's too close, which is the rumor that is basically a remake of the Disney movie, then they can shut you down, right? So it's very weird, man. And again, I felt a little bit more confident after talking to some people that we did that a couple
That
weeks
was
ago.
funny.
But it's interesting that even with uh, other members of the opposite gender, they do feel the same about Segler and her childishness and how she expresses herself about the movie. So
See, like it's interesting. I respect, like the honesty you're coming from, because I think not enough people have an honest opinion about, where they stand on this kind of stuff. Or that some people almost feel like they have to support her and what she's saying, because if they're not supporting her, somehow they're supporting some other the wasp nest mentality that you talked about,
yeah,
right? Um, and then some people, are against what she's saying, but they're making it very obvious, like their bias and why they're against, right? And
yeah,
instead of just having like a true honest of just saying like, let's look at big picture. My attitude is this: like when you were saying like, speaking herself, like speaking too honestly, or should talk about things she doesn't say, that she doesn't know about, stuff like that. Like I get where you're coming from, because you know me. I mean, even right now, I'm being careful what I'm saying, right? But like I'm a big believer in like free speech, and
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, totally.
you want to say something like crazy, you go say it. I'm also a believer in equal rights, equal justice, and like, look, if you're gonna say something crazy, the consequences of those choices are what's gonna happen, right? Whatever that may be. So, look, I think she has a right to like, if she wants to say anything about, like, she could say Snow White is the worst princess ever, and she could say anything she wants, right? I'm not saying she said that, but I'm just saying she could say whatever she wants, right? Any criticism, please don't be shy about it. I would hate for you to play the character, keep your mouth shut, and hate it the whole time, and then it being obvious in your acting. You can tell some certain projects in the past, and we've heard these things years later, where someone's like, "Yeah, I was doing this project, but I hated doing it. Like I had
Yeah,
no respect at all for it, and
yeah,
trashing it later." I'd rather you be honest about it, and let's just not have you. And two, just don't even take the project. Like if you're that much against this kind of thing, maybe just
yeah,
don't recuse yourself. I'm
yeah.
not telling
Exactly.
people
Maybe
not
you're
to
not the
take
right
money,
person for this.
but
Yeah,
there's certain things that, like for myself, you have to be careful that you don't just sell out, that you genuinely care. Like I'm happy about, what I'm a part of, and you should be like, but I do believe that at the end
yeah,
of the day, like you should be allowed to say what you want to say. Look, I can come on this show, I can say whatever I want, right?
yeah.
But
Totally.
I'm a smart person, and I ain't gonna do that. Okay?
Ain't gonna get me. Ain't gonna
No,
get
not
Joe.
at all.
Yeah, you gotta
No,
get you got
I'm a
you gotta get you get me, but not Joe. Like,
what lives on the internet stays on there forever. And I know to
uh,
be very careful, right?
yeah,
But at the same extent, like what I had told other people, and I don't know if I've said this on the show before. I think this is our first time really talking about what's going on with this. But like I mentioned this to you, and I've said this to other people that are close to me as well. Like just think for a moment, any character that you really love. I don't know. It could be Mario, it could be Batman, it could be, I don't know, anybody,
He
right?
Man.
Ahsoka, He-Man, She-Ra, I don't know. But what I am saying is like you love your character, and then someone's going to play a character you love, and then the perspective in the way that they when they do speak about this character that they're playing comes across as I didn't really enjoy, didn't watch it much growing up, like straight up saying this, or
Yeah,
not, I what I do know of it I don't like at all, and then basically saying like the whole thing needs to be changed. You might say, I don't think this person's very respectful of this role. Like I can tell you right now,
right,
if someone
right.
was going to be playing Batman, right? And or excuse me, Spider Man. Spider Man's my boy, right? Let's use someone that
Yeah,
actually is
there you go.
personal. So someone says they're going to be playing Spider Man, and they say, you know what? I don't like that he's called Spider Man. It needs to be called Spider Person. You know what? I don't like that Spider Man was bitten by a spider. I think he should have, like it should be his choice that he didn't choose to get bit by a spider. He should get an injection of some kind. I
Right.
don't like that Uncle Ben dies. That's he's Spider Man. He should save the day. Not. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Like you were changing fundamental stuff that was created from a time and a period very specifically with a very creative direction.
Right.
And I'd be saying like you have entitled, you have every right to say what you want to say. You have every right to believe that. That's what you really feel strongly about. I just think that maybe you should recuse yourself from it, and probably the people
Yeah,
creating it should say, you know what,
maybe this
you're
wasn't the
making it
right
clear
choice.
that this
Yeah,
isn't the right choice. That
yeah,
needs to be a part of the process. I think personally.
totally, totally. Yeah, yeah, and that's and you know, it was kind of infuriating, right? Because it seems like it was like from when she was speaking about it, it felt like it was from a place of ignorance, right? Like she didn't understand the magnitude or the impact of the, you know, this movie changed culture, like the original movie, right? It is it is one of those times, like it's one of those once in a, you know, I don't want to say once in a lifetime, but it was it was a moment in time that changed not only the entertainment industry but art, right? Animation. Um, it changed a lot of things,
Yeah.
and just downplaying it because it's it's the storyline is outdated, it's kind of creepy or whatever your opinion on the movie is, and disparaging it, right? That's rough, dude. Like, can
It's
you
not
imagine?
good look. It's not a
Like,
good
it's
look.
like again going back. Yeah, exactly. It's like going back to I don't know. Um, let's find a movie that that changed. Okay. Let's go back and do like legit. Go back and do one of the let's do Frankenstein, the Karloff Frankenstein from you know the was it 1929 or whatever. Um, it's like saying that oh yeah, you know, Frankenstein's outdated and whatnot, and it, you know, the story was bad and we didn't like it, but what did Frankenstein do, right? It's like freaking like changed like horror movies and in cinema, right? And storytelling, right? And just downplaying the significance of the original movie just because you think it's creepy. Maybe yeah, maybe like you said, maybe they should have casted someone else,
Yeah.
right?
Like
Maybe that should be part of the casting process.
it should be.
how do you feel about the original? How do you feel about the character, right?
Some of our favorite roles we've ever seen portrayed in Hollywood, you see some of these interviews, some of them, not all of them. You hear that these people became very passionately loving of the characters that they were playing, or and they did a deep dive behind it and
Yeah,
they embraced it and they loved it. And yeah, there's different iterations, and yeah, like there's things that maybe needed to be changed. And I'm not saying you're wrong, wrong for voicing it, but it's all about the way you conduct. And I think that's a part of the process, like of saying if you're going to be playing these roles, as an actor is very much in a PR role, and you're like self single-handedly, she is plowing away this movie from happening. Like I think
yeah,
if this movie doesn't happen,
and
it's very clearly going to be, I believe personally, her fault.
yeah,
But I do think the movie's still going to happen, Obed.
and
I think the movie's still going to happen because it's
okay,
they're in a bad situation right now where they they already announced it. They already filmed some of it. They've been on pause for a while. Um,
the
I
problem is that
see them
going back,
cutting back the budget a little bit.
yeah, it's like going back to some of the things that we talked about. Disney, it's like Disney's is not in a position to take anymore else right now, and
They can't afford it.
they can't afford it. So I'm concerned about, I'm not concerned about her career. I'm concerned about Disney, right?
Sure, sure.
Because it's that's and again going back to however you feel about Disney, it's, you know, inconsequential at this point, right? To me, it's whatever. But it's I'm just concerned that they keep churning out this unpopular sort of movies, and it's like they hate themselves.
I
It's like
know.
being in an abusive relationship, and you know that's they keep
Scary.
getting slapped at the box office,
Yeah.
and they just keep doing it, and they've been doing it for like 4 years now, 3 4
Obed,
years.
what's the last Disney movie you've seen in theaters?
Um, wow.
The fact that
Uh,
he has to stop and think, guys, like that's already telling
Lion
you.
King remake. Not
Okay.
counting, not counting the Marvel movies.
So literally 2019.
Yeah,
Aside from these, not including the Marvel ones.
not including
Wow.
Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah, it
Like
was
that's
Lion
crazy.
King. Yeah,
This is coming from a guy that you grew up with Disney.
yeah, man.
You've loved it. Your family loves a lot of the Disney properties.
I go to the parks
Um,
once a year because that's all I can afford. So
and they're pricing people out. You would go more if you could. I know it.
totally. So I would be
I
there
know
every
it.
month.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. But I
totally.
can't. I can't. So
Yeah, man.
yeah. No, I just wanted to throw that curveball at you, sir. And
No, it's a good,
it,
it's an
I
interesting
wanted to have the
dialogue. I
discussion.
think
Yeah.
it's yeah. Like I think it's an interesting one for sure. And people love us talking about Disney, right? So why not throw another fun Disney conversation?
Yeah.
You should have played the. You should have played the video though. You should have played
Oh, hey.
before.
Oh,
There's
you
still
know what?
time.
There's still time. Disney, what are you doing? All right, that was just for S and Gs because that's pretty good.